Hello everyone, it's Ginger. Welcome back to my studio, and yes, I've got the sketchbook out. I am just looking at colour palettes at the moment to see what I'd like to kind of look at. The next couple of paintings I've got in mind are very much winter set, so kind of more snow scenes, wintry scenes, and I've just been looking at and researching the sorts of different colour palettes that I kind of think might be most appropriate for what I'm looking to achieve. Now, they're all landscapes, but I want to do something long and thin, so I've marked out two sections that are long and thin on this page, and that is going to be basically my colour studies. So just some marking out tonal values with the colours, just to kind of get a rough idea of what direction I want to take the painting in. And then on this side I am going to do some watercolour, and I've also got my pastels as the Rembrandts with me as well, and that's just so that I can take a look and create some colour palettes. So I've just been using Pinterest and just taking a look at some different images. I'm going to show you across the top here some images that I've been kind of looking at for inspiration and the sort of colour palettes that I'd like to include. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back through these images on the screen, which is in front of me but out of sight for you guys, because this is, unbelievably, this is actually my computer desk. This is what it actually looks like, covered in paint. We will pick out some colours and create colour palettes and kind of see which one I prefer before doing some colour studies and kind of working out composition, because I've got an idea in mind of what I want to create. So it's not a real life picture that I'm painting from or a real life situation. It's more of, if I think of winter, and especially here in Scotland, this is the sort of thing I think about, and this is what winter here kind of means to me, and what it kind of encompasses. So, and it's not going to surprise you to realise that it is a classic winter Scottish scenery landscape with a bothy and snow and mountains and trees and that kind of sort of thing, but with the interesting colours. So let's take a look. I'm going to pull up on my screen that you can't see what I'm looking for, because I threw all these images up and then threw them away again, because you know. So yeah, lots of blues and greys, which is kind of classic here. We're due some quite bad weather tomorrow, so we're just holding our breath on that one. So let's see, I'm going to put some water. I've got a little, is this my Winsor & Newton? Yeah, just my little Winsor & Newton travel palette here. Before I drip water, no, I've already dripped water onto the page. So I'm just going to wet this up and then pull some colours from some of these images and just look at gaining some inspiration. Be surprised, but it's quite a basic palette this, but I can produce a lot with it. Is missing one half pan for some. These are half pans? Yeah, these are half pans. So I'm missing a half pan in this set. I think it comes with one not there. For whatever reason, I just haven't used it. Yeah, I've got a really perfect warm violet that I could put in this set, and that would be amazing, but weirdly enough I've just never got around to it. So the first colour I'm kind of wanting to look at is going to be a blue-grey. So I want some blue, so you kind of see what I'm looking at here. It doesn't matter that I've got watercolour on here already. I make up my own colours, so it makes no difference. This is a black that I've added in. It's a slight yellow tone, but I don't want yellow to it. Yeah, like that, kind of almost like storm colour. Let's see what we've got. I'm just going to pop it up here. Ooh, that is a nice colour. I like that. Yeah, I like that. Do I want to have a darker version of that though? Or do I want a browner version of that? See, my only problem is if I add too much of any colour, then we go too far. To make it more brown, I don't add brown, I tend to add orange or yellow. See, so this is a slightly warmer grey. Let's put that down here. See the difference between the two? Yeah, okay, so we've got our blue grey and we've got our warmer yellow grey. I quite like both of them, but it kind of depends on which direction we're really going. I do want some blues as well, but I don't want... I do want it with a slight grey tint, but I do want a little bit more vibrancy on the blue side. And this is mostly the sort of colour that you get in shadows and things like that. So we'll add that to this one. Hopefully you guys can still see what I'm doing. We'll check the camera in a second. So you can see it's a warm blue, but it's a really nice kind of, it's not sky blue, but it's kind of more like what I refer to as a snow blue. So the sort of colour you would see in the shadows on the snow. I'm getting distracted. I've got like 3-4 different paintings up across my screen and I'm just like, oh look at that one, oh look at that, look at that. Right, I do want a more intense blue. I'm just conscious that I don't want it so blue it looks comical, so I might have to add a little black to that, or a little brown. Let's do that, see what we get. Oh yeah, that's better. So yeah, that's a more intense blue. Quite like that one. A flick. Yeah, okay. And there is some yellow tones. And I do want some yellow tones. I don't want it to go too far the wrong way. I'm just thinking this, especially on, so if I go for a more yellow colour base on this second colour palette. I'm going to get to the other colour palettes late in a minute, but that's kind of what I'm thinking is a more kind of grey yellow. It's not a gold tone, but it is a grey yellow. But I do want a nice pop of colour. So the question is, which direction should I go with a pop of colour? Do I want to go orange? Kind of go like a rust colour? Ooh, actually that might work. Like a browny, orangey, yellowy, which is quite a lot of different colours. But yeah, no, let's do this. I like that. I think that would make a really gorgeous pop of colour. In fact, do you know what? I'm gonna put that in both colour palettes. Because I like that, and I think it's a really nice contrast colour in both sets. Could do with something a bit more yellow, so that, but a bit more yellow. Yeah, a bit more yellow like that. I just felt like that was great as a grey, but I need something that's a little bit warmer. Okay. And I want to go with something that's a bit browner, maybe? Yeah, let's see. Go for something that's a little bit more brown as well, something a bit darker. I don't like having too many colours, so I will keep this fairly limited. And don't panic, I'm not going to be painting in watercolours. Well, I will, but for the colour studies probably, but not on the painting. This is a quick way of me getting some colours down. I like that kind of colour range. Let's add some blue to that. So we get more of a blue brown as well. Yeah, I think realistically, ignoring the whites, that's probably a good range of colours. I just want to do this one. And light colour, light. Yeah, that's a nice colour, like dirty snow. Not like that dirty. I mean dirty as in, you know, mixed and churned with mud. But that's nice. I like that. Let's go back to the other one. I really want more, almost like that. I do want a better. So I'm wondering if I just add a little bit brown, whether I can get a slightly more intense grey blue going. I just feel like I need something that's a bit, not warm, but yeah, like that. It's got just a little bit more depth of colour in it. Ooh, that would be a really nice, like stormy sky colour, wouldn't it? I like that. That's a nice colour. I could do with another, like darker again actually. Darker than that. Let's try it. Yeah. Ooh. I have a light version of that, I think. Let's see. Almost like a light grey snow. So it's like the dirty snow in that colour, but the blue tone rather than the yellow tone. I do feel like I need something. Just a slight different pop in this. Maybe like a gold colour. I don't want it dark though, but just, yeah, like that. Just so that I've got some slightly warmer pops that I can add to the snow, but that isn't too in your face, if you know what I mean. Ooh, I likey. I think that's quite fun. Now, that's from two of the paintings I was looking at. It's the problem when I'm looking at so many different paintings. I'm like, oh, I could do this, or I could do that. I'm like, let's see. I think it was this one I wanted to look at. Ah, yes. So one of the ones I have in my selection that you might have spotted is a painting by Diane Gardner. I absolutely love her work. It's just amazing, and the amount of colour she can get in is just, ooh, yeah, just sets everybody off. So she's got a number of different colours going on. She's got this kind of winter landscape with some trees, river kind of things. But it's a really interesting colour palette. So I'm gonna bring this in. So the first colour is a kind of weird, I'm not gonna say it's a minty green, but it's a kind of grey green. It's like a neutral sage. No, even a neutral sage. I'm not really sure what I want to call it actually. It's quite pale. It's a really gorgeous colour. I'm just going to lay enough watercolour down that we can get a nice tone for that. Like that. which of course you're all now shouting at me going, what is that? But you'd be surprised how much green actually gets reflected in snow. It's quite a surprise for most people. We've got another dark blue black, but this one has got a little purple in it. Not much, but enough. And then we do have some interesting purples going on. So we're gonna, is it more of a blue? It's a bit more of a blue purple that I think we want. Like that. There's a couple of other really strong purples in it, so I want to make quite a strong purple. I can hear lots of vandals slamming outside, which usually means DPD are here, and hopefully they are bringing me a new art toy, something I have been looking at and just should have bought a long time ago. I suppose you could say I'm just spoiling myself this time. So that's a slightly warmer tone purple, but that's kind of what I was looking for. It's not that you don't have to go, oh, I only have to do cools and what. No, you can absolutely mix and match. Never assume that you have to do one colour over another. Just like a rose, like a browny rose colour. Yeah, I want this as well. Brown, grey, rose, purple colour. The only way I can really describe that one. Now I'm looking for some blues, but I'm not looking for red blues, I'm looking for yellow blues, which I don't actually have a yellow blue in this palette. So often than not I have to kind of make a colour until I've kind of got as close to it as possible, which is not easy. I'm not far off. This is more of a yellow blue I've got working here, which is a bit better. I do need it lighter. I need some more water. What do we think? Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I do like it actually. Kind of more of what I would refer to as a steel blue. Notice my squares are getting wonkier and bigger as we go, but that seems to happen. Need like a pale purple. Yeah, like that. So less pinky than that and more blue. And then we want more of a kind of shocker of a purple. That's a lot more blue. But it's a really strong colour. There we go. Like that. Really nice violet. Okay, so we've got some really interesting colour palettes there, which at a glance you would look at and probably say those don't look like snow coloured palettes. And the reason being is that I don't have a lot of the whites in, i.e. the tints that you'd expect in snow. I have some of them, but I don't have the lightest versions of them, which frankly there isn't much point in a sketchbook like this to do that. Oh. So, are we happy with these colours? Actually, I am. I'm fairly happy with these colours. So I'm going to create something. This is why I'm always struggling with this, because I'm like, oh, just so many ideas, but trying to get them all out, yeah, it can be a bit of a nightmare. Kind of want, yeah, I want a nice sky, so I want to go back to my blue greys and create a nice sky from that. I've got plenty of it here. I just don't think that will be dark enough, will it? Well, it might be. I like a good stormy sky, and I kind of feel like that's what I need. So what I want to do is wet what I want. So I've kind of got a mountain up here and then along. Just make sure that this is wet enough and covering enough. And then we'll drop some of this in. Let's see what we get. Yes, I am working wet on wet, mostly because I do want this to kind of spread so I get some interesting colours and patterns going on. I do seem to have a collection of dark in this corner, which is probably the paper buckling, because it always buckles up and away from the spine. I don't know why, but it does, and usually that just results in everything kind of running towards the spine, which, yes, is pretty irritating actually. That's fine. I want it quite dark down here. I'm going to flatten the page out a wee bit. It's granulating nicely, mostly because of the type of paper. This is a bit of a funny paper that they've got in the Etcher books, but I really like it because it allows you to work so well. just leave that for the minute. I do wonder if I should just clip it. I've got this one which I used to clip this down, but I don't need that so much now. So let's clip the wider page. And I use that just to prop that up a wee bit, and that will just help. But what I will do is move you back into camera range. How are you doing? Better? Might be a little bit more focused now. So, do I want, so this is where we kind of get my funny, so we've got our mountains, which I'll add some marks in and stuff for that. And then we've got our separate land, which kind of forms kind of like separate sections. Do you want to come down? I want to bring path down to there, like a road. Yeah, I just want maybe that to come up a wee bit more, and then you to there, and then you to there. And then what I do want is I want a tree line somewhere along there, and as part of that tree line I want a little bothy there. And most bothies do actually have an outbuilding, and the reason is those outbuildings are usually a wood store, so they tend to be smaller. So if I do that, and there's our bothy, and then just want to create some interesting kind of shapes for the land. So it looks something, kind of something like that is what I'm kind of looking for. We will see. Let's tip the book up a minute. See how the colours are separating? I mean, I'm not a watercolour artist, so I don't 100% understand why it's done that. You know, it's Winsor & Newton, so this shouldn't be, it's not inferior watercolour, but it definitely doesn't seem to be behaving as I would expect, for example. Now, with most watercolour, you want to go dark to light. Oh, well, that made the decision for me. We're going to put some water here. And, yeah, I want quite a dark blue now. Up that way. And I want some of it on here as well, but actually I could probably put some water down first. Probably people shouting at my screen going, you really need any water down. Do you know what? I'm not a watercolour artist. I actually don't care. What I want to do is I am just looking to get colours down in a way that kind of suits what I was looking for. So I'm not overly fussed about how that happens. I just want it to happen. This seems to have escaped in this direction. I have no idea why. You gonna go back up? Spread it. Oh, I forgot. I'm so busy spreading that, I've forgotten about this. Don't allow that to wander off too far. Can you guys still see what I'm doing? I know I'm moving this around an awful lot. Let's do that. Right. Now, I want the snow to be kind of along there and then along there. So I do want a lighter version of this. But I want it to have a little bit of colour, so that we're not, because otherwise you'll lose it amongst between that. So we're going to add some of the yellow, grey yellow gold in that we were working at. Quite like that. I haven't decided what I'm doing with these mountains yet. I'll just put this down and then see what I get afterwards. You know, when you start to think, I don't know, I'm a pastel artist, not a watercolour artist. I'm like, uh-huh. Kind of like it. I kind of feel like I need a bit of the blue. It seems to be pulling red out from the sky. I have no idea how or why. However, kind of like it, and I was planning on putting some orange into this anyway, if you remember correctly. So that's not a massive deal, really. So I think what I might do is just add some more of this gold colour in. Conscious of where I need this to go versus where it's kind of landing, but it is what it is. This is still just going to absorb some of the water up. This brush is actually really good for that. Is this one of the Winsor & Newton ones? Yes, it's a Winsor & Newton foundation. But I've peeled most of it off, but it's not a flat because it's got rounded edges, but whatever that is called, and a number 3. So hopefully somewhere there'll be a water person going, but don't worry, I absolutely do not know what I'm doing. I just need this to be a bit darker here, where I've got this road. I feel like I almost need this like track going up the middle of the road, but we'll see. So we've got this tree line here, which I want to make sure kind of get in. It goes around the back of these. A bit like most things, it's in the distance, so I want it fairly light. So I've got a section there. This is where I want to get in these different colours, because you've got so many wonderful things going on. Yeah, let's lighten this yellow with a little bit of blue. I want to get this in up here, so it's making a nice kind of weird grey. I am lifting a fair bit of it out, so don't worry. And I want to then remark along the edge of where the road is there. I'm going to be putting some pastel over the top of this, so at the moment I'm not too fussed. This is where I want to be really careful and just grab some colour for the bothy. Now, bothies usually white walls and then a dark roof, and the reason, there is actually a reason for that, and the reason is that it's actually more visually, you can see it better in the landscape for those that need it, because at the end of the day bothies are a resource. They're there to help people. Obviously with my inability to see anything, but you can kind of see that's where the bothy is. On an edge, dark edge along this road. And then pull this down so that it's bleeding out this way. Okay, so it doesn't look 100% clear what that is, and that is absolutely fine because that's kind of what I wanted. And what I might do is I will get some, needs to dry a wee bit more, but I will get some pastels and just paint on top of that. Just make some marks over the top of that, just so that I can kind of get an idea of the direction. What I do though is I absolutely love the colours in that. But I just feel I need more of a pop of orange, and I wonder whether or not I should bring it down onto the road. That is the smallest one of the two paintbrushes. So I'm going to make up just a little bit of orange, the rust orange. Just conscious of how bright this might be, but kind of like it actually. Just got that little pop, but I feel like I need, like, let's just pop some in somewhere else. And the question is where and how much. Possibly here actually, just along that line there. And possibly that line, because there's a little line here that I was following. And I just come bring that down, kind of join towards the roadway. Right, kind of like that maybe. Yeah, that's slightly better. Okay, I know we've kind of lost some of the shapes. How damp is it? Oh, it's not. Oh, it's not too damp. I said. Too late. Now I've got a great big fingerprint in it. Only problem with working with this stuff. The question is, how do you fix that? Any suggestions on how you fix that? We'll leave it for now. Need that to dry. I'll mark out this one. So same, kind of similar. I kind of lost some of this because I brought it so far along, and I think might actually bring this mountain in and then back out again like that, which might make more sense. And then we're just curving, we're just doing, you know, where's our road, where's our tree line? Our tree line will be here. And it gets smaller as it goes off that way. That goes that way. And then another one that kind of comes down like that. And then we've got another one that kind of goes behind this hill here. I'll bring that one up a wee bit, I think. And then we've got our bothy. And our little outbuilding. And this kind of forms another dip like that. Okay, right. Look at another colour palette. Do I want to go for the warms? No, actually, I think I might go for the purples, because think that's a really interesting colour palette, especially with these greens. And the question is, where do I want to put the greens? That is a good question. Not the sky is the first answer. So I'm going to wet my mountains first. I'm wondering actually if I make the mountains green and just make sure that I get some of that into here as well. How's that looking? Just kind of making sure I've spread that out enough, that the paper's wet enough that I can put this down and allow it to spread. Yeah, I think what I might do is just pop some of this here. I know the paper's not wet, so it's not going to go very far. I'm going to just add some in here and also here. And we'll see what happens with that when we get going. So I'm just putting some water down for the sky. Mindful that my mountains will still be wet, so there'll be some bleed possibly from the mountains into the sky, which is fine. As I've already said, I'm not too fussed. Right. I just clean some blue grey off my palette. Mostly because I want to start making this purple. And it'll be easier to do that without everything else in the way. There we go. Right. I want some of my purple down here, I think. These are almost classic Scottish colours now, aren't they? Kind of heather colours. Just looking at where I want them specifically. And then I'm going to water that down and then do the sky. So it's a really light purple sky. Might want to flash some colour in, just like that. That'll do. And do have more of a blue colour, or blue grey, so we want a little bit of yellow in it. Not much, but just to make that kind of nice steel colour. And then we'll bring that down here. And also into the trees. Look at this sky, it's gone absolutely crazy. ahead and do the roof, the bothy one here, and the roof of the outbuilding. Darkest colour in the painting is very dark blue, that's fine. Just going to move this so that it's not blending too much with my mountains. I love this colour palette. It's kind of, you've got your kind of classic stormy winter, and then you've got your more interesting colour palette, which is almost like the Aurora Borealis, with these kind of greens and purples. It's quite interesting, the kind of contrast between them all. Just want to darken this edge. Okay, so there's two very different colour palettes going on there. I dread to try and touch this and see. Oh, it's kind of dry. Yeah, okay. So with it being a little dry, anyway, move that and that out of the way along with the pencil. I'm just going to look at some of the kind of colour tones that I've got for this, but with in my pastels. So we've got a lot of the very nice kind of pale blues that are like this. So if I do this, you can see such a gorgeous colour. It's one of my unisons, so it's absolutely gorgeous. And of course I want to bring that, well, first of all I'm gonna put this line in so that I can see where I'm going. So it comes down to there. And then that one goes back up that way. And I'm just going to add some of this in here. Look at that. That's such a gorgeous colour. Right, I want to just make sure that I'm in focus, and here. That's a bit better. I want some of this down here because I don't want to lose some of this. I know it's still a wee bit wet down here, so it's not liking the pastel too much because it's still wet. I don't mind that. You get a lot more interesting effects when you do that, like that. Look at that. Now, what else have we got? Just this one's slightly lighter, isn't it? I think so, yeah. Yeah, it is. This is my slightly lighter one. I'm just going to come down and bring it down along the road line there. I do want to get some of it on the road. Some of it there. This is the grounds around the bothy, so there's a slightly lighter blue. Which which one I've got which here, because I've got two different whites. Obviously I do want to add some white, but not a lot. So this is wet here, so this will be fun trying to get this down, but actually, ooh, that's nice. I like that effect actually, the way that's coming through. So that's the snow in the foreground, in the immediate foreground, but it is a lot brighter over here. This is where the distant sunlight is actually catching this hill more than it is catching at the bottom, which is what you want. So we're just going to pull that in and down. Try not to break too much of my pastel at the same time. And then see if I can actually get it to pick out the bothy. It's not supposed to be an exact representation, so I'm not too worried. Oh. I'm liking how that's coming along actually. That's really pretty, especially this section. Just, I feel like, yeah, just need to make some marks coming down, so you can see it's kind of like supposed to be snowdrifts, so yeah. Remember, there's a fence line along there. We haven't put that in yet. We will, but we haven't put it in yet. Now, do I want to add something into these mountains? I feel like I did kind of lose them. And I do have this, I do wonder, it's a pale yellow, but I kind of feel like that's too, is it too yellow? Actually, I don't know. I'm going to break it into bit. So I've got a smaller piece, which I'm then probably going to throw on the floor. And then I really want to just mark out where it was supposed to be. But I think that might actually look kind of better when I'm doing that actually. So you've got this beautiful line, and then that one also comes down there. There's like lots of different bits to this mountain, but because of the watercolour it's kind of given it lots of different bits, which is great. But at the same time, I'm not sure it's quite what I was looking for, but it kind of works. I want to get some of this yellow in down here into this snow as well. Possibly actually over here where this blue is, because that looks really good. Okay, so we're starting to kind of get more of a snowy scene here. Bear in mind, this is tiny, and my plan is to do this significantly bigger than this. In fact, I think what I need is a pastel pencil. I don't know what you guys are thinking so far. Hopefully you can see it all right. Right, I've got my desk, my computer desk is not particularly big, so slightly struggling with this, but we will endeavour. Let's see, what have I got where? That's a brown. Looking for, do I want a black? I don't think I have a dark blue, do I? No, not as a pencil. So let's see, I was looking, I've got, so this is the road line here, and I had all these little fence lines I wanted to go along, I don't know what it is, but I like a good fence. I'm missing that black line there. Quite liked it. I want to put it back in. Sometimes a lot of this is you take stuff out and then you're like, oh, actually, do you know what? I actually quite like that. So you end up putting it back in. And I think the same with the road here, because I kind of lost the road. So just going to put some of that back in there. I lost my trees here, haven't I? I need to decide what I want to do about the trees. But in the meantime, okay, so that's looking more like, oh, I'm not really sure what. I know what it looks like. You guys know what it looks like because I've told you what it looks like. But I really like how that's going to come together. But I need to sort these trees. What should I do? I've got a dark blue, but I don't think it's going to be dark enough. I think it's going to be too vibrant. It's also a blue-green. It's a yellowy blue. No, I don't like that. Is that the same colour? No. Oh, that will work though. Obviously, I don't want to shape them like trees, but I want to... Oh. I feel like I need some like rubber dots to stick to this, the back of this sketchbook, and then that might stop it from trying to escape all the time. It's always on the move, my sketchbook. Please let me know if yours does the same thing, and then maybe we'll come up with a product that you can stick on and peel off. That will help. I've also got a new magnifier coming, which might help me a bit more with these details. Because I think that's the thing I struggle most. It's not so much getting details in, but I can't see where I'm putting the pastel down, so sometimes I kind of miss the mark. Yeah, I feel like that because I've put that blue in, I'm going to need to put some of that in somewhere else. So. What are we thinking then, people? What do we think? Do you know, I actually quite like how that's come out with the different textures. I think that's pretty good. Got a really bad sore throat coming on as well. I've not been feeling well for the last couple of days, so yeah, this is starting to drive me crazy. I've got Strepsil. Might take a Strepsil. The question is, do I want to then do this one? Oh, look at that! It's almost like there's an aurora in the sky. Kind of feel gutted. I'm like, do I really want to mess with that, or shall I just leave it and just go? Oh, I kind of like that. Because of course I want to get in the colours. I'm like, lots of weird noises. I'm gonna have to, because I want to get all these beautiful colours in. So like that. What I might do is just outline my mountains in pink. Because why not? Yeah. And then just add a little bit. Not much, just a little bit. I don't really want to touch the sky, so I'm quite happy just to maybe leave that like that. Not really doing much here, but even just quickly doing that has kind of transformed it fairly quickly. So that's a pink. Like a, this is our blue, yellow, green. It's more of a grey colour with the green in, but it is quite a nice colour. I might do the trees in that colour actually while we're here. Actually, nice to add some of this down here just to tie that in with the upper sections. Yeah. Okay. What colours have we got? These are really, yeah, it's kind of more that than that, isn't it? I haven't really touched the purples, have I? I want to put a darker purple in. I've got a few different choices, but and when I mean darker, actually, it can be that dark, which is more like this kind of colour. I really like this colour. Oh, see, this is where I start off with saying, oh no, I don't really want to mess with it, and then you know what, I get into it and then I'm like, do you know what, let's just keep going, look how cool that looks. I'm just gonna colour that in because I like that. Can we, yeah. I've lost where my road is. It's just kind of a little silly, but never mind. I want to make this a bit darker down here. I always like making corners dark. It's just a habit, but do you know what? Works really well. Oh, I like these colours. They're all, yeah, like I said, they're kind of Aurora kind of style colours. Let's see, what colours have I got in the other tray underneath I can use and bring out maybe. What have we got? What have we got? No. We've got the blue greys, the darker blue greys actually. So like a Payne's grey. It's actually quite a nice colour. But it might be too dark really for what I'm looking for. But I'm gonna bring that in anyway. What I could do is really need to kind of bring that in there. Yeah, that works better for the road actually. Just to bring that in for the road. Oh, we're doing squiggly lines. I'm not sure why, but why not? Okay, still not really achieving what I'm looking for. I'm trying to think. It's not so much the minty green. I need to kind of lighten it to the whites now. I don't really, I don't know why I'm doing that. That's because they're all in this tray. I'm just trying to be very careful about what I bring in where. This is more of our kind of blue. There is a lot of blues and greens and pink tones in snow, and I think that's just the reflective colours that you get, which is great. I absolutely love it. So let's bring our white in, shall we? And actually bring in what could effectively be referred to as snow, I suppose. Oh, I love the way that's kind of mixing with the other colours. That's our road into the distance. And this is us bringing our snow in up here. And also in here. So it'll be brighter up here at the top. As we come down, you kind of lose some of that. Same with the other one. Just adding some of this into the bothy so that we can tidy the bothy up a wee bit and the outbuilding. We will get our pencil in. I'm just literally rolling the pencil, seeing where it goes. There you go. Bothy's got a little bit more definition. I still kind of lost the road. Do I want to do a fence line in this one? Possibly not, actually. I might just leave it as it is, actually. Right, so there they are. I'm just going to make sure you guys can see. Yes, you can, just about. So let's see if I can bring these a little bit closer. There we go. There's our two really pretty little colour studies. So the next upcoming video, unsurprisingly, is going to be doing one of these bigger. I will put a poll in the community tab for either the blue and gold one or the Aurora one, and we'll see which one we end up doing. Anyway, hope you guys have found that really interesting to see a bit more on my kind of work in progress and my process on how I kind of work through what I'm looking at for colours, and then kind of compositions and studies and how I work that. So I will hopefully see you all for a main painting video of one of these two, but significantly bigger. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. And I will see you all soon. Hopefully I'm feeling a bit better and we'll still have a voice, but we'll see. Ta-ta for now.